Have you ever had the feeling that someone was holding something back, even though their words sounded fine? Maybe it was a friend saying, "I'm good," while their eyes darted to the ground, or a colleague agreeing with an idea while their lips tightened ever so slightly. These are the moments that remind us words are only the surface. Beneath them, there's a whole world of signals waiting to be noticed. Patrick King's Read, People Like a Book begins with this exact idea. People are like open texts, constantly broadcasting information through tone, posture, expressions, and behavior. The challenge isn't that these signals are hidden, it's that most of us have never learned how to see them. We live in a culture that prioritizes words, while ignoring the richer, unspoken language that reveals how someone actually feels. The ability to read people isn't some rare gift. It's a human instinct, something we're all born with. Babies, long before they understand words, respond to facial expressions and vocal tones. They can sense anger, warmth, or fear instantly. As we grow older, though, distractions, technology, and social filters weaken this natural sensitivity. We learn to pay more attention to what's being said than how it's being said. By adulthood, many of us have tuned out the very signals that once guided us so clearly. Reclaiming this skill changes everything. When you know how to read people, you stop being blindsided by hidden emotions. You pick up on tension before it turns into conflict. You see when someone is uncomfortable, even if they pretend otherwise. And just as importantly, you learn to build stronger trust, because people feel understood without having to spell everything out. King emphasizes that reading people is not about manipulation or trying to catch others in lies. It's about awareness and empathy. If you can sense discomfort, you can respond with kindness. If you notice hesitation, you can offer reassurance. If you see signs of stress, you can step in with support. This ability to read between the lines makes relationships deeper and more meaningful, whether with friends, family, partners, or colleagues. The body never truly lies. A person may choose their words carefully, but their nervous laugh, restless hands, or shifting eyes often reveal more than their sentences do. The way someone leans in when interested or folds their arms when guarded speaks volumes about what they're really experiencing. Once you begin noticing these things, you realize that conversations are not just exchanges of words. They are layered performances, full of cues about emotion, intention, and truth. Reading people also strengthens your confidence. How often have you left a conversation second-guessing what someone meant? When you know how to read body language and behavior, you stop relying only on words. You have a richer set of clues to work with, and that clarity reduces uncertainty. It's like upgrading from watching a movie with half the screen covered to suddenly seeing the whole picture. What makes this idea so empowering is its practicality. You don't need to be a psychologist or an expert. You just need to slow down and notice. The raised eyebrow when a promise is made, the pause before someone agrees, the way a person's tone shifts when the topic changes. These aren't accidents. They're part of a constant stream of communication, available to anyone who chooses to observe. Ultimately, learning to read people is about connection. When you listen beyond words, you prove to others that they're truly seen and understood. That's what builds trust. That's what makes you memorable. And that's what transforms ordinary conversations into moments of genuine human understanding. Reading people promises clarity, but most attempts fail because of predictable mental traps. Patrick King lays out these traps early, so you can avoid the mistakes that turn observation into misjudgment. The first trap is confirmation bias. Once you form an idea, you filter new behavior to fit that story. If you think a colleague dislikes you, a curt reply becomes proof. Small details are twisted into evidence that supports what you already expect. Projection is another common error. We tend to assume others feel as we would in the same situation. If public speaking makes you nervous, you may see anxiety in every speaker who shifts their posture. But their inner experience can be different: boredom, concentration, or simple habit. Treat your initial impressions as hypotheses to test, rather than facts to accept. Overvaluing single cues ruins accuracy. An isolated gesture, avoiding eye contact, a delayed answer, a nervous laugh, does not reliably indicate deception or hostility. Human behavior is noisy. Real insight comes from clusters of cues appearing consistently across moments and contexts, not from one-off signals taken alone. Cultural and individual differences complicate reading. In some cultures, steady eye contact is respectful. In others, it is disrespectful. Personal quirks matter too. Some people smile when stressed, others touch their face when excited. Assuming one universal meaning for a gesture leads to false conclusions. Observe the person over time to learn their baseline. Your emotional state also skews perception. When you are tired, angry, or anxious, your attention narrows and you pick up signals that match your mood while ignoring others. That filter can transform neutral behavior into provocation. Part of becoming a good observer is managing your reactions so your judgments don't reflect your own inner noise. The halo effect is another powerful influence. A strong first impression, charisma, neat appearance, fluency, casts a glow that makes you overlook faults. Conversely, one negative trait can taint your view of everything else. First impressions matter but are incomplete. Avoid letting them decide every later interpretation. Rushing to interpret is a practical trap. Modern life trains us to decide fast, but human behavior often requires time to reveal patterns. Patience beats snap judgments. Let evidence accumulate and look for consistency across settings before you commit to a conclusion. Finally, resist the urge to weaponize these skills. Reading people should foster understanding and care, not manipulation. If you use observations to control or shame others, you will erode trust. Accuracy without empathy becomes cold. Empathy without accuracy becomes naive. The balance between both is what Patrick King calls the ethical core of social reading. Recognizing these traps changes your approach. Instead of hunting for a single tell, you gather multiple signals, weigh context, check your emotions, and remain humble. That humility is the secret to seeing people more clearly. People are complex, and simple answers rarely fit. Hold curiosity longer than certainty, and your observations will become honest, useful, and kind. A crucial final rule: learn each person's baseline, normal posture, speech rhythm, and facial habits, because deviations from that baseline are the clearest signals. Without a baseline, interpretations are guesses. With one, patterns reveal truth. Try it. Once we understand the traps that cloud our judgment, the next step is learning the actual signals people send. Patrick King reminds us that while words can be chosen, the body leaks truth without permission. Our muscles, posture, and movements often reveal what's happening inside long before we decide what to say. This is why body language is often called the first language. One of the strongest signals comes from posture. How someone positions their body in space shows where their attention and comfort truly lie. A person leaning forward during a conversation is literally moving closer to you, signaling interest and engagement. Someone leaning back with crossed arms is more distant, perhaps defensive. These subtle choices, whether someone's feet point toward you or away, whether their torso is open or shielded, speak volumes about their state of mind. Gestures are another revealing layer. Open palms suggest honesty and a willingness to connect, while hidden hands can hint at discomfort or concealment. Small, repetitive movements like tapping fingers or bouncing a leg often betray anxiety or impatience. Even the speed of gestures carries meaning. Fast, sharp movements may signal agitation, while slower, controlled gestures suggest calmness or authority. Facial expressions, though often fleeting, are the richest source of emotional truth. Human faces are wired with dozens of muscles capable of micro-expressions, tiny flashes of real emotion that slip out before a person can mask them. A flash of fear, a quick tightening of the lips, or the narrowing of eyes can all reveal hidden feelings. While these micro-expressions last only a fraction of a second, they are powerful windows into what someone truly experiences. Eye contact deserves special attention. People often assume direct eye contact equals honesty, but the truth is more nuanced. Too much eye contact can feel aggressive or staged, while too little may signal avoidance. The key is balance, along with context. Dilated pupils can indicate excitement or attraction. Rapid blinking may show stress. Watching how the eyes behave across a conversation provides some of the clearest clues about inner emotion. Proxemics, or the use of personal space, is another silent communicator. Someone who feels comfortable will often move closer, while someone uneasy will step back or create barriers with objects like bags or cups. The distance people maintain varies with culture and relationship, but paying attention to shifts in space can reveal changes in comfort level instantly. Touch also speaks its own language. A quick pat on the back may signal encouragement, while a lingering touch can imply deeper emotion or intent. Just as important is the absence of touch. When someone avoids contact altogether, it may reflect boundaries, tension, or detachment. Again, context matters, but touch is often the most primal, instinctual signal we have. Breathing and voice tone round out the body's communication system. Shallow, rapid breathing hints at nervousness. Deep, steady breaths suggest calm. Meanwhile, tone of voice often says more than the words themselves. Rising pitch can indicate uncertainty, while a lower, steady tone conveys control. Pauses, hesitations, or sudden speed in speech may reveal tension or concealed thoughts. The most important rule when interpreting body language is to avoid treating any single sign as proof. Instead, look for clusters of signals. A person crossing their arms might simply be cold, but if they also avoid eye contact, lean away, and give short answers, the pattern is clear. They're uncomfortable. Patterns over time, not isolated gestures, unlock accurate reading. Learning the body's language takes practice. The good news is that once you begin noticing these cues, they become impossible to unsee. Everyday interactions start to feel richer, as if you're finally hearing the second half of a conversation that was always there but ignored. By combining posture, gesture, expression, eye movement, and tone, you develop a fuller, more reliable picture of someone's emotional reality. Human beings are natural storytellers. We use words to present ourselves in a certain light, to persuade, to protect, and sometimes to deceive. Patrick King explains that detecting deception isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone, but about noticing when someone's words don't align with the signals their body and behavior reveal. When speech and action clash, the truth usually leaks out. The first principle in spotting deception is inconsistency. Most people can control either their words or their body, but rarely both at the same time. Someone may insist they are confident, but their voice shakes or their shoulders curl inward. Another may say they are happy for you, but their smile doesn't reach their eyes. These mismatches are red flags. They don't always prove lying, but they highlight areas where reality and presentation diverge. A second sign comes from overcompensation. When people try too hard to appear truthful, their behavior often becomes exaggerated. Think of someone swearing "I promise" repeatedly, or making too much eye contact to appear trustworthy. Genuine honesty tends to flow naturally, while forced sincerity often feels stiff, as though the person is rehearsing. Micro-expressions are among the clearest giveaways. These are tiny flashes of real emotion that appear for a split second before the mask returns. A quick flicker of fear, disgust, or anger may slip across someone's face even as they say, "Everything is fine." Trained observers learn to catch these moments, which reveal what the person actually feels but doesn't want to show. Another clue is timing. Truthful responses tend to be smooth even if thoughtful. Deceptive ones often come with unusual pauses or delays. Someone may take longer to answer a simple question, as if crafting a safe reply, or they might answer too quickly, cutting off thought to maintain control. Either extreme, too slow or too fast, can indicate hidden calculation. The level of detail also matters. Honest accounts usually contain natural details, small observations, side notes, even imperfections. Lies, on the other hand, may be vague to avoid contradiction or overly elaborate to sound convincing. Both extremes stand out. The liar either hides behind simplicity or tries to bury the truth under excess decoration. Stress signals are another giveaway. Lying creates tension in the body. Look for sudden changes in breathing, fidgeting, sweating, or touching the face and neck. These are physical signs of inner discomfort. While none of these signals alone confirm dishonesty, combined with verbal inconsistencies, they strengthen the case. Importantly, King reminds us that spotting lies is never about one single cue. It's about clusters and context. If someone avoids eye contact once, it means little. But if they avoid eye contact, show a micro-expression of fear, and give a vague answer, the pattern suggests hidden truth. Reading people accurately means resisting the temptation to jump on one sign. Another critical factor is baseline behavior. To detect deception, you must know how the person normally acts. Some people always fidget or speak quickly. It doesn't mean they're lying. But if their behavior suddenly shifts, calm becomes restless, open becomes guarded, that change signals something significant. Baseline comparison is what separates accurate reading from false assumptions. Finally, deception isn't always malicious. Sometimes people lie to protect feelings, maintain privacy, or avoid conflict. Noticing these moments doesn't mean confronting or accusing. Instead, it offers perspective. You see the gap between words and truth, and you choose how to respond with caution, patience, or understanding. The power of detecting hidden intentions lies not in catching others, but in protecting yourself and navigating relationships wisely. By observing mismatches, overcompensation, timing, and stress patterns, you become attuned to the difference between what is said and what is meant, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. The ability to read people is not just about spotting lies, decoding signals, or predicting behavior. Patrick King's final lesson is that these skills matter most when they're used to create genuine human connection. At its heart, social intelligence is about empathy, understanding, and building trust that lasts. Reading people is not a weapon, it's a bridge. The first step in using these insights for connection is listening beyond words. When you pay attention to tone, posture, and micro-expressions, you show others that you truly notice them. People feel validated when someone sees what they're feeling without needing to explain it. Imagine a friend quietly saying they're fine, while you catch the tension in their jaw and ask gently if something's bothering them. That moment of recognition deepens the bond more than any surface-level conversation could. Another aspect of connection is matching and mirroring. Humans are wired to trust those who reflect their energy and rhythm. When you subtly mirror someone's posture, pace of speech, or emotional tone, they feel understood at a subconscious level. It doesn't mean copying them awkwardly, it means aligning with their state so that rapport grows naturally. A calm tone meets anxiety with steadiness. A warm smile mirrors happiness. These small adjustments signal respect and presence. Empathy in action is where reading people transforms relationships. By sensing someone's emotions, you can respond in ways that meet their real needs, not just their spoken ones. A colleague nervous before a presentation may not need advice, but quiet reassurance. A partner who withdraws when stressed may need space rather than probing questions. Reading people equips you to give the right response at the right time. King also highlights the role of emotional intelligence in connection. Awareness of others must be balanced with awareness of yourself. If you misinterpret signals through the lens of your own stress, you risk projecting rather than connecting. Emotional intelligence means regulating your reactions, staying grounded, and creating a safe space for authentic exchange. When you manage yourself well, you can meet others where they are, instead of letting your own emotions distort the interaction. Another tool for building trust is consistency over time. People open up to those who observe without judgment. If you notice signals but respond with kindness instead of criticism, others learn that they can be authentic with you. This creates a cycle. The more they trust, the more open they become, and the easier it is to read them accurately. Connection grows strongest when observation is paired with compassion. The book also reminds us of the power of curiosity. Approaching others with the mindset of discovery rather than evaluation transforms how you interact. Instead of labeling someone as nervous, difficult, or distant, you remain curious about what's behind the signals. This curiosity invites stories, honesty, and openness. People sense when you are genuinely interested, and they respond with deeper truth. Perhaps the most profound benefit of learning to read people is self-reflection. As you sharpen your awareness of others, you inevitably become more aware of your own signals. You notice how your crossed arms, hurried tone, or forced smile may be sending messages you didn't intend. This self-awareness allows you to align your words and actions more authentically, making your own communication clearer and more trustworthy. In the end, Patrick King's message is simple yet powerful. Human beings are books waiting to be read. But the purpose of reading isn't to judge, manipulate, or control. It's to understand, connect, and navigate the world with greater clarity. By observing clusters of cues, respecting context, and balancing empathy with accuracy, you gain a skill that enriches every relationship in your life. Conversations stop being surface exchanges and start becoming deeper experiences. Confusion is replaced by clarity, suspicion by understanding, and distance by trust. The ability to read people like a book is less about decoding secrets and more about unlocking the humanity that binds us all. Thanks for watching.